Well, there has been plenty of talk as well on the gold mine that effectively, at this stage at least, is off the table. That's because of a decision by Tanya Plibersek, the Minister, to essentially side with local indigenous landholders on their rejection of that particular mine. Joining the panel now is Shadow Resources Minister Susan McDonald. Thanks for your time. You're going to say tonight a new broad approach, not around this mine, but a broader approach around indigeneity definitions. So how will you set up which groups actually have claims? Is that you? Does it have to be an independent department? Because it's complicated, right?
Well, less bureaucracy, I think, would be a start. But what I'm very keen on is that there is greater certainty for miners, for agriculturalists, for tourism operators, whoever is consulting, that they know who they need to talk to. But really importantly is that the traditional owners or native title holders...
We have the Senate bells ringing. Apparently you're okay.
Okay.
All right. I was told you weren't.
You got a pair.
No, I'm okay.
Thumbs up. All right. This is how the...
Well organised.
Do continue.
So it is about certainty, and also for the traditional owners, native title holders, or like the Orange Local Land Council, that if they are the legislated, recognised decision maker for that area, that they can feel confident that they can make decisions about their country. That is what we're seeking.
It's not always necessarily neat. There are at this stage multiple claimants to areas. Presumably that could still be the case. So even if you sort of codified in that way, you could have one group saying yes, one group saying no. What happens then?
Well, that is what we're trying to seek, is that particularly in places where there is native title granted, native title determinations, or local groups, that they are making those decisions amongst themselves. This is important because they know, the local lawmakers, the traditional elders, they're the ones who have knowledge of country. They're the ones that we're seeking to provide certainty to those people who seek to engage. So
there'd have to be one group per area, even if it could be multiple tribes? Is that how it would work?
Well, no. I think what we're trying to achieve is some clarity for the consulting entities and for the traditional owners, so that they know within themselves. You're not having people fly in, drive in, appear that they're not familiar with, and to claim to have some standing in this regard, to be a relevant person. So that's what we're trying to seek to resolve. What I'm hearing from both sides is that they don't want certainty of outcome, they want certainty of process. They want to know what process to go through. That's only fair, it's only reasonable. And Blaney, 7 or 8 years of consultation, approval at a state and an EPBC level, after hundreds of millions of dollars, to then be told that it is being shut down, and it is being shut down. There isn't an alternate site, no matter what the Environment Minister would say.
What do you think of her motivations in terms of her decision?
It's interesting, isn't it? I think she's worried about votes in her own electorate. Inner city Sydney, that she's looking for green preferences. She's looking to be touchy and feely and accessible.
But had she approved this, would it really have seen the light of day as an issue?
I wouldn't have thought so.
So is it a miscalculation on her part? Because she's drawn the government into a controversy and a fight against the New South Wales government.
Well, I think so, and I think it is just one more demonstration of the layering of an anti-government and anti-farming. We've seen that today. But an anti-mining
yeah, you just
agenda.
Said anti.
I know, I'm sorry, I meant to say anti-mining
yeah.
agenda. So in the last 2.5 years, we've seen a layering of new legislation and regulation that is making it almost impossible for companies to feel confident to invest here in Australia. We've seen 8,000 jobs go in Western Australia in mining. This is very serious for mums and dads, for families who rely on these projects.
And Anthony Albanese has given a speech where he said, don't complain about our IR laws, don't complain about this and that. There's heaps of opportunities for mining. And he's having a go at you for not passing the production tax credit, saying you're the enemy of mining in that respect. What's your reaction to all that?
Well, I think that is, words are cheap. And in all the investigations I've made over the production tax credits, they won't work. They're too slow. They're not targeted enough. They won't go towards miners. They'll go towards processors. It wouldn't save the nickel industry. It won't save the lithium industry. What will do that is to get back to business fundamentals, lower cost of energy, less adversarial IR, faster approvals processes. These are the things that make it easier for investment boards to make the decision to put billions of dollars into Australia. And remember, it's not just a big mining company, it's the small businesses that supply the bread, the tyres, the transport company, the local contractor, as well as the families who are invested through the jobs in these places, and of course the taxes that we all benefit from.
We've seen the government today as saying that it wants to initiate a ban for young people using social media. Peter Dutton in the party room today was taking credit for that policy. Do you think it's a good idea overall, and if so, why?
Well, we know that social media is a terribly negative impact on people who are vulnerable. And so I would absolutely support better controls and better measures to look after our vulnerable, and particularly our children who are, they need our care and our supervision, a supervision that we don't always get when they're not, we're not watching over their shoulders as to what they're saying. And
when it comes to an age, the coalition sort of specified 16. Is that a non-negotiable for you, or is there sort of room there for movement?
I think that we're going to talk around that, about what the age is. I haven't turned my mind to what it should be, and very happily for me, my children are all now young adults, so this is not a personal conversation, but one that I think there are lots of families who are struggling with the impact of social media in their homes and an influence that they haven't approved.
We've got about a month until, a bit over a month till the Queensland election. What's the mood like? Is Labor going to get turfed in a big way? The polls today had them narrowing the gap a little bit. What's your read on it?
My read is that Queenslanders are to a despair over crime, particularly youth crime. I either speak to a tradie who complains about their tools being stolen, to a young mum who can't get her kids to school, or for me...
That's South East Queensland and the north as well?
All over. And in the north, I think it's even worse because there's no public transport. There is no alternative if your car has been stolen. Or for a more mature woman like myself, who we now lock ourselves in our room after we've locked the house because of the number of people who wake up to find people in their homes. This is not acceptable.
All right, Senator, I've got to leave it there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.